So, what's up guys, I am BlackOpsAmazing, welcome back to another zombies video where today I'm going to be answering a bunch of your zombies questions from the comment section below. If you're going to enjoy today's video, a like rate, and if you feel like it would at any time be very much appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest zombies comments on this channel. If you have anything that you want to know, leave your comments down below, but without further ado, when you're ready, here we go. The Gaming Kid says, how can Richtofen talk to Stanley if he was killed by the Weasel? Well, Stanley was never actually killed, at least not in real life. We see him being killed in the Mob of the Dead intro cutscene, but as you can clearly see, that intro cutscene doesn't take place in reality. In reality, Stanley Ferguson never died. Yes, the inmates somehow escaped their cells, but they didn't do it by killing Stanley Ferguson. And in real life, the inmates died. Stanley went on to live, he went on to retire, and then he told his story. But in Purgatory, as you can see, he is killed, but he can talk to Richtofen because in reality he wasn't. Zbirds456 channel says, is there 3.0 characters? Well, there are hundreds, thousands, millions of universes out there, which means there are hundreds of thousands of different versions of our characters. There are thousands of Richtofens, thousands of Nikolais, Dempseys, Tachios, and when Richtofen read the Canorium for the first time, he told the Tranzit crew that each and every version of Richtofen dies. That in each and every universe that Richtofen existed in, every version of him died. There wasn't a good ending for him. And so, as we know, because of that, he went out to change things, where he helped put the children in the house in Monty's perfect universe. But yes, I'm pretty sure there are 3.0, 4.0, 20.0, 100.0 set of our characters. If they join together in the Origins universe, if they could join together in the original universe, I'm pretty sure they've joined together somewhere else in a different universe. Just maybe that time it didn't exactly work out for them. Crazy Gamer C says, hey BlackOpsAmazing, is there any way that all of this zombie story is just in Samantha's imagination? Think about it. In the cutscene where you see the two kids in the house, they have the 1.0 characters and the 2.0 characters action figures. Well, that is what we all originally thought when we saw the Origins ending for the first time. We all thought that this was just all a game in these two children's heads. We thought it was just a game being played by Eddie and Samantha. As we know now, that's not the case. The reason why Samantha and Eddie are playing with these toys in the house is because Dr. Monty gave them to them. And we now know that the zombie storyline isn't being played out by these two children. It isn't in Samantha's imagination. It is actually happening. It seemed like it was in Samantha's imagination because, as we can see, everything in zombies was in the room of these children. So that's a very good reason why we would think this is all just in their heads. But the reason why all of this stuff, all of these novelty items that we see in zombies, that's the reason we see the mystery box, the chalk drawing on the wall, the zombies characters as toys. The reason we see all this is because Dr. Monty gave them to the children as toys to play with. As we know, since Dr. Monty is God, he's kind of taken everything that involved the original crew, made them into toys, and give them to the children to play with. Either he was lazy and just couldn't be bothered to get some new toys, or what, I don't know, but I mean, maybe, we're all being played and maybe this is in Samantha's head. Hugh just says, who created the drones on Gerard? Well, the drones were created by Group 935, and we know this because, as you can see on their sides, it says 935. In Gerard, Sophia says this about the drones.
Directive Log 203.1. Now that the 115 contamination of the Red Army is complete, the Valkyrie drones have been programmed to probe the ruins of the city. They will find any resistance trains and attempt capture. As directed by Dr. Groff, I have updated Valkyrie 7 and 8 to penetrate enemy lines in an effort to secure any survivors for study. Regrettably, however, contact with Valkyrie 8 was lost after it engaged one of the targets.
So we know that they were created by Group 935. The Valkyrie drones were used by them to find people, to find prisoners of war, and also the enemy. And then these Valkyrie drones would either alert everyone in Group 935 of what they had found, or deal with it themselves. So the Valkyrie drones were created by Group 935. FB Greats Productions says, is every map in a loop and is 5 in a loop? Yes, as I've explained many times before, every single map in Zombies is in its own loop. So Nakda and Toten, Shinonuma, Varuk, Derice, then every map in Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and Black Ops 3, including Revelations. And the whole zombie storyline itself, when all of these maps are put together, is one big loop. And what I mean by that is the same events in these maps are being played over and over again. So every time our characters die in each and every map, including 5, the loop continues and we are sent back to the very beginning to do that again. In fact, in each and every one of our maps, our characters have probably died 100, 200, 300 times before. We just don't see that and we don't know that, and our characters don't quite remember that they have been to each of these locations before. And the best examples I can use to show you this is either Mob of the Dead or Die Rise. In the Die Rise loading screen, you can see that the Tranzit characters die, and when they die, Richthofen, who is in control of the zombies, sends them back to the very beginning to do that Easter egg again. So Die Rise is in a loop. Mob of the Dead, as we know, is in a loop. In order to escape, we need to break the cycle. And that's what we have to do in every single zombies map. In order to move on to the next map, we need to break the cycle in the previous one. So in order to move from Shinonuma to Gerard Cuvee, we need to break the loop in Shinonuma in order to move on to the next one. And that's what we did. In Shinonuma, we finally killed Takio, and by doing that, we broke the loop and we could move on to the next map. But in Shinonuma, and as we see in the Shinonuma trailer, our characters end up dying many times before we actually complete the objective. In some circumstances, it seems like Takio killed Richthofen, and so because of that, because they messed up, they were sent back to the beginning of that loop to do that Easter egg over and over again. So to answer your question, yes, every map is in a loop, including 5. Who is in charge of that loop, who is sending our characters back? I'm thinking it's Dr. Monty, but there we go. The next question from Apothecon Official asks, hey Eli, where does the Civil Protector come from? Please like so I can answer the question. So where does the Civil Protector come from? Well, the sky. There we go, I've answered. No, I'm joking. That was terrible. So as we know, the Civil Protector is a robot that we get in Shadows of Evil. We can go up to this little box and spend points on it to call in the Civil Protector to help us out. But where exactly does it come from and what is it? Well, first off, you can clearly see that it very much resembles the giant robot. It's kind of like a smaller version. But the Civil Protector is actually part of the Morgue City Police Department. The Civil Protector was built by the Council of Morgue City and was then used in Morgue City's police department to help protect its citizens. I'm thinking that a lot of crime must have been going down in Morgue City, and so the police department created this robot to help them out. And I'm thinking maybe this robot even worked along Jack Vincent, since we know that he is also a cop. When the Civil Protector spawns in to help us out, it will say things like the safety of Morgue City's citizens is my only priority, and similar things like that. Its police badge number is 115, obviously referencing Element 115. And the strange thing is, if you actually knife the Civil Protector, even though it's a robot, blood will actually come out of it. So there we go, hopefully it answers your question. We call it in, it is deployed by the police department of Morgue City to help out. And this is the final question for today. SamWeezy25 says, when do you think the Tranzit crew will return? So as you know, the Tranzit crew, apart from the comics, have been out of the zombie storyline for quite a while now. They were only given to us for 3 maps in Black Ops 2. That was Tranzit, Die Rise, and Buried. Of course, in Black Ops 2, we also had Mob of the Dead and Origins, but we got a rare glimpse of the Tranzit characters. It really wasn't much though, and so for that reason, we had the comics, which gave us a lot more information about their life and what exactly they were doing. And as we know, at the end of those comics, we got a surprise ending for the Tranzit crew. We originally all thought that actually the Tranzit crew died in Buried on Round Infinity. As we now know, that wasn't the case because Richthofen's side of the Easter egg, which Round Infinity occurs on, that isn't canon to the storyline, so that in reality never actually happened. What actually happened was the Maxi side of the Easter egg. That's canon. And in the Maxi side of the Easter egg, he takes control of the zombies, tells the Tranzit crew that neither the Earth or its people will survive, and that he was going to destroy it. And that's where Buried ended. So after that, we could only assume that Maxis ended up destroying the Earth and killing the Tranzit crew. We originally thought that the Tranzit crew died in Buried, but as we know, when the comics came out, that wasn't the case. What in fact happened was the premise version of Richtofen opened up a rift for them, they escaped from Buried, and then went on a quest for him to collect the Knorrium. As we know at the end of those comics, they brought the Knorrium to Richtofen, where he told them that the only place for them to live, the only place that they are going to be safe, is that if they stay in stasis chambers. And so at the end of the comics, Richtofen puts our characters on stasis, puts them to sleep, and he tells them that once he finds a perfect universe, one rid of zombies, one that they can live in without getting hurt, he will awaken them and put them in that universe. But until then, they are put on stasis, on ice, ready until Richtofen finds that universe. And that is where the comic ends. Our characters are left to be put to sleep and we hear nothing about them again. So the question is, will the Tranzit crew return? In Black Ops 4 or whatever Treyarch's next game is, will we be seeing them again? And I'm 99% sure we will be hearing of the Tranzit crew. Are we going to be playing as them? I don't think so. I know that Treyarch listened to the community, and a lot of the community didn't like playing as the Tranzit crew, and so for that reason, I don't think we're going to be playing as them again, but I definitely think in a future Easter egg, we will be hearing about them, and although I don't think they will return, we will hear about Richtofen finally putting them in a safe universe for them to live in. I think in Black Ops 4 there may be a small Easter egg where we learn that Richtofen finally awoke the characters and put them in a perfect universe for them all to live together peacefully without zombies. So yes, they will return, but not in the sense that we're going to be playing as them, in the sense that we will hear about them once again being woken up and probably put in a safe place. Maybe in the future, actually, Richtofen will use the Tranzit crew once again to help him out on another quest. Who knows? We're just going to have to wait a little while to find out. Anyway, that is it for today's video. Hopefully you have all enjoyed. If you have, as always, a like rating would be very much appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest zombies videos on the channel. Leave your comments, any questions you have in the comment section below, especially some juicy ones. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.